Have you ever heard the expression, businessman by day, killer by night? This is a modicum I had heard when I was an operator, and it kind of kept me on azimuth as I progressed in my career. Our operators at the organization may be tasked with donning a suit in the daytime to have to go brief an ambassador or a chief of station to gain access into a country to do a mission, and then mere hours later don their combat equipment and go conduct some of the most complex and dangerous special operations missions conceivable. So this begs the question, how do we prime ourselves to be able to go perform in these wickedly hard environments and be successful, no matter if that's in a business suit or our tactical equipment at night? That's what we're going to discuss today. Welcome back to the Operator's Mindset. My name is Trey. Most people in this community know me as Mr. Free, and I was an operator and then a civilian at the most specialized special tactics organization in the world. This channel was created so we could have an honest conversation around what it takes to be elite in life. We'll discuss this mainly through the soft operator perspective, and that's because most of my experience lies in that realm. However, this channel and these discussions are for anybody trying to be successful in life. I would love it if you guys would leave me a comment after each episode and just let me know what's going on in your world, how maybe some of the previous topics have affected you in your performance, and if there are any topics that you want to discuss in the future that we might could do an episode on. Also, before we go any farther, please just reach down there on the screen, push the thumbs up button. It costs you nothing and it just helps the channel and the community grow. Alright, so today we're going to talk about 5 tips to help prime you to become a master at whatever you do in life. None of these 5 tips are hard or complicated. They're all easy to execute. You just have to have the discipline and the grit to do it. The first tip, and maybe the most important, is being a savage learner. After any event, after any performance that you do, the question isn't, did I win? The question is, did I learn? And what did I learn? And how can I take away the lessons to not make the same mistakes again tomorrow? But maybe the biggest gap in our knowledge as humans, especially when we're trying to perform at elite levels, is knowledge about ourselves. We're often so concerned with how others are behaving and thinking that we forget it all starts with us. We're perceiving them through our mind. So until we figure out how our mind works, none of the rest of it's going to make a lot of sense. So how do we tackle this? We read. In all of these videos, you're going to hear a common theme. If you're not already reading, you are behind in life. Increasing your knowledge is going to help you become that better businessman and better killer. There are no shortcuts here. Sure, you can substitute reading with audiobooks and watching some good content on YouTube, but ultimately you need to be uptaking information that helps you tie things together in your brain. And that content should revolve mainly around teaching you about you first. Because until you have that deep understanding of yourself, everything around you is not going to make sense. Once you learn why you think the way you do and behave the way you do, then you can see the connections that are happening all around you. You can understand why that person made a different choice and behaves a little bit differently. So the first real task with being a savage learner is learning about yourself. Then once you learn about yourself, you can start expanding that awareness out to others. One tool that we used at the organization that I had learned when I was an instructor at the Senior NCO Academy for a few years was the DISC personality assessment test. Now, every personality test is going to have its critics, but the DISC is very simple. To me, I always said it's operator friendly, and it's why we used it at the organization. And every operator since 2011 actually took the personality assessment when they came through OTC. Now, why did we use DISC? DISC was just a great operator-friendly way to show guys what their behavioral tendencies are. Especially when you think about being under stress, they could see what their default behaviors were going to be through the instrument. Pretty amazing. There's free versions of DISC online. You should just go take one and see what you are. It's going to break you out into one of 4 quadrants, D, I, S, or C. And then inside each quadrant, it's going to tell you what your behavioral tendencies are. Now, it's always important to remind ourselves that a personality assessment isn't a prison. It's the key to the prison. And if I know what my tendencies are when I walk into a conversation, maybe with an ambassador or a chief of station or ground force commander or just a leader, or my peers, it doesn't matter who it is, if I understand how I'm thinking about a subject and I understand that they're not really seeing it the same way because I know what their disc is, then I can use techniques and strategies to close that gap between us so our communication is more effective. And last but not least, when it comes to Savage Learner, keep up with technology. Maybe one of the most disheartening things that I witnessed were operators getting comfortable with how they were doing things, too comfortable. Technology, when the wars kicked off, was exploding. Our ability to do CAS faster, close air support faster, our ability to treat patients more effectively. The technology was outpacing our ability to keep up with it. And some guys just quit trying. Your job to be a good human and good operator is to keep up with technology, to understand how you can better utilize the tools around you to be better at your job. If you get left behind, you are of less value to anybody that you're supporting. All right, tip number 2. Get experience at speaking in hard environments. Probably the second biggest regret guys had when they got done with our operator selection at the unit was they didn't do enough time before they got there speaking in hard, challenging environments. Because we tested them at that. We put them in those hard environments every day. Not because it was just a torture device, but because that's what our operators are expected to do at the organization. And honestly, what humans are expected to do, especially at business levels, at elite units, just at basic units in the military. It doesn't matter how competent you are at your job if you can't communicate effectively. So take the time, invite people to come listen to you speak, invite them to give you feedback so you can grow and learn. It is so hard to do. It's so hard to want to put yourself in that environment because we're all kind of scared of public speaking, but you have to get reps at this to be good at it. That's the bottom line. Tip number 3, your fitness is the baseline. So no matter if you're an operator or a human, your fitness level can determine how well you perform in life. Now, a lot of us hate to hear that because getting in good shape is usually kind of hard, or we perceive it as hard. But honestly, once you get into a routine, it's hard not to do it anymore. And I think that's the power of building habit. If you're a human and you want to be better at everything in life, get fit, stay fit. If you're an operator, clearly fitness is the foundation of everything you do. But here's the magic. The higher your fitness level, the higher your IQ can be on target. So let's imagine we have a guy who's, let's just say, a medium IQ guy, but he's in wicked good shape. And then we have a wicked smart guy who's let his fitness lapse a little bit. Those are 2 scenarios that you see play out in SOF all the time. Now, let's say that these guys have been up for a few days having to plan targets. They had a hard infill into the target. Maybe they had to walk 5 kilometers over some mountains. The guy who's physically fit, but kind of a mediocre IQ, he's going to have much more bandwidth and energy to use to solve problems. Whereas the wicked smart guy, not so physically fit, got really taxed over the course of the last few days in that infill rut. Man, his bandwidth is reduced greatly because he doesn't have the energy reserves to use towards problem solving. So again, your fitness is your baseline for everything. Tip number 4, carry yourself as a consummate professional always. Now, I know we discussed a little bit about this last week, but this is such an important tip, I think I could include this every video. Be a professional. Now, what does professional mean? It means when people look at you, they see what right looks like. Now, how do we get there? If you're a younger guy or girl, you should be finding mentors. Find 2 or 3 people who you think have the traits of being professional, and take some of those things that you value in their behavior and copy them, mimic them, put them down on a little playbook. You mimic those, and then eventually you're going to turn those into your own and make that the authentic version of you. You are never wrong if you're a professional. In any situation, in any environment, be a professional. Tip number 5, life away from work is as important, if not more important, than life at work. The best operators I know are also some of the best humans. Good humans make good operators. How do you develop yourself into a good human? Through your priorities. Your priority when you leave work every day is to go home and invest in your family. Be the best husband, be the best father, whatever's applicable. Go home and be that version of you. If you don't have a family, then this is your time to be a savage learner. That's the time you spend reading and everything else. If you do have a family, you still have to do all those other 4 tips too. But when you're home with them, you set aside time specifically for them and be the best husband and father possible. Doesn't mean that you don't carve out a couple of hours at some point to where you can work on you, to where you can do meditation and read and do all the other things that we're talking about. But the investment that you make in your family will be a lifelong investment and pay dividends forever. They will be there long after your work life will be there. Trust me, I am moving into that phase of my life right now. So again, I'll reiterate, the best operators I know are also the best husbands, the best fathers, and the best humans. All right, y'all, that's it for this week. Let's do a quick review. Number 1, be a savage learner. The question isn't, did I win? It's, did I learn? Number 2, get experience at speaking in hard environments. It doesn't matter how good you are at your job if you can't communicate it. And number 3, your fitness is your baseline. You can increase your IQ on target if your foundation of fitness is always solid. Number 4, carry yourself as a consummate professional always. When people look at you, they should see what right looks like in the moment. And number 5, life away from work is as important, if not more important, than life at work. Good humans make good operators. Investing in your family, being the best husband and father, helps make you a good human. All right, y'all, one little caveat. If you're not meditating, you're behind in life. Don't wait till you're 40 or older like I had to do till I found this tool. Meditation will change your life. It is the one performance enhancing tool that hardly anybody's using and will give you a leg up in whatever you're doing. And by the way, over on my other channel, The Trapdoor, I just started Trapdoor Meditations, and the link is in the description below. Click on it, go find yourself a quiet place in your house where you can close your eyes and feel safe. Put on some headphones, click play, and let me guide you through a meditation. You will thank me later, years down the road. The difference it will make is monumental, trust me. All right, I hope y'all have a great 2025. I appreciate y'all for being a part of this community, and we'll see you next week.